see the recent headlines? Senators blast Apple. Congress went to war against that evil technology company.
Apple is also one of the biggest tax avoiders in America.
Most of your profits worldwide are sitting in 3 Irish companies that you control that don't pay taxes.
And so on. But wait a second. Apple created maybe 600,000 jobs in America, even more overseas, a huge amount of new wealth. Of course, Apple tries to avoid paying taxes. Their accountants tell them to because American taxes are so crazy. They and I avoid legally. Won't any politician stand up for a business that makes an appropriate response to big, intrusive government? Well, thankfully, at that hearing, one senator spoke up.
I'm offended by the tone and tenor of this hearing. I'm offended by the spectacle of dragging in executives from an American company that is not doing anything illegal. I say instead of Apple executives, we should have brought in here today a giant mirror. Okay? So we could look at the reflection of Congress, because this problem is solely and completely created by the awful tax code.
Right, way to go! And Senator Rand Paul joins us now. So did you take some grief for saying that from your colleagues like McCain and Levin?
They may not have been too happy with me, but I really wasn't too happy with the proceeding. I mean, really, I think it's an insult to make corporation officers come in, raise their right hand, read them the riot act for doing what everyone else does. In fact, I said, which one of you politicians wants to come through and say you don't try to minimize your tax bill? And who wants to come forward and say that you want a chief financial officer who maximizes your tax bill? And I went on to ask one of the professors, I say, do you take deductions on your taxes? Do you try to minimize your tax bill legally? And they all answered yes. I mean, it's a ridiculous charade, but it was insulting to Apple. They're the largest corporate taxpayer in our country. I said we should have given them an award for paying so many taxes and for creating so many jobs.
And I'm glad you complain about this attitude of bringing in the CEO to kneel before Congress. I mean, it's easier for Apple. Apple's popular. But if you have a company that makes pesticides or an oil company, they try to destroy you. Don't they see this is where the wealth comes from?
Well, and they also say, oh, we didn't subpoena them. But quietly, they say, if you don't come in, we will subpoena you. That committee is one of the few committees in Congress that has the power to subpoena. So no one's going to say no to them. But I thought it was insulting. I mean, these are great innovators who have created jobs. They pay a lot in taxes. And if you want them to bring home some of their worldwide profits from sales overseas, let's make the tax code fair where they will do it. There's examples of it working. Why not just lower the tax and let them bring some of the money home at a lower rate?
And when your colleagues are chewing out companies complaining about their profit with a sneer, do they not see the connection between their rules and companies doing more business offshore?
Well, that's why I told them they needed to bring in a giant mirror, and I was imagining how funny that would be to have a big 12-foot by 12-foot mirror and have them looking in the mirror to find the problem. The two leaders of that committee, the Republican and the Democrat, they've been up here for 30 years. They've presided over this tax code. The tax code is their baby. So if it's forcing money to go overseas, like I said, money goes where it's welcome.
Am I being unfair when I say politicians have a war against business?
I think there's an attitude. It's sort of like the hearing on Apple. What we should be doing, and if we had a president that was a great leader, he should fly out to Apple's headquarters, congratulate them for being a great American company, and say, what can I do to help you? What can I do to allow you to bring more money home? What kind of tax rate would help that? And what kind of regulatory burden is inhibiting you from creating even more products? We should do that to every successful American company instead of dragging them into Washington and excoriating them saying, oh, you're not paying your fair share. Same with wealthy people in our country. How do we get you to create more capital and jobs instead of saying, how do we punish you? So it is about attitude. We have exactly the opposite attitude of what we should have.
Thank you, Senator Rand Paul.